Hey everybody, welcome into Fox 35 Weather Plus. I'm meteorologist Laurel Blanchard, and today we're going to kind of keep those pleasantries a little on the shorter side because we do have a lot of weather to talk about today. Of course, we'll still put out the question of the day as we wrap up the work week and head into the weekend. We'll talk a lot about weekend events because we are still going to be seeing a good amount of rain, but for now we are seeing the threat of flooding out there. So we are going to kind of make this a little bit on the briefer side instead of talking a little bit more in depth about our question of the day, our weekend plans, but still same thing goes. What are your weekend plans and what are you doing? We'll make that custom forecast for you a little bit later on in the show. So let's actually get to the question of the day today, and we'll kind of get into those forecasts and what we're seeing out there on the radar a little bit quicker today. But as always, write in for the question of the day in the comments if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Question of the day is, what is your favorite fall tree? And I can think of about 5 of them right off the bat. So again, if you're new to this, we have a question of the day to start off our Fox 35 Weather Plus show every single day. So make sure you get in on the fun. But also, if you do have any plans coming up, whether for this weekend or coming up if you're visiting family a little bit further away from home, let us know because we will make a custom forecast just for you coming up a little bit later on in the show. All right, so that is what we are looking at for our question of the day. What is your favorite fall treat? And we are doing something a little bit different for the month of October. So if you are dressing up for Halloween, have a Halloween party, you and the kids are heading to trunk or treat, you're going to Halloween Horror Nights, send us a photo of your costumes. We are going to take a look at all of the ones that we compile a little bit later on this month or at the beginning of November and pick our favorites so you can get bragging rights. So definitely let us know coming up a little bit later on in the show. And if you would like to send us in a photo, let us know. You can send us in a photo, Fox35 Storm Team at Fox.com, or you can send it to Laurel.Blanchard at Fox.com. Send us your photos and get in on the fun. All right, so we are going to get into our current radar at the moment because things are a little bit on the dicey side out there right now. Seeing a lot of rain and a lot of wind out there. So here's a look over at Daytona Beach. That wind is coming off the shore, and that is what's also been kind of roughening up those tides. 2 weeks ago, we had Imelda and Umberto kind of making their way up the coastline, and this is what really roughened up those seas. But because we've been in such a rainy pattern, that easterly flow has just been coming off the ocean and onto shore. That is kind of helping pushing those waves further upshore, as well as we did just have a full moon a couple days ago. So these tides are angry out there, and they're going to continue to stay rough because we have another low pressure system making its way up the Florida coast, and that is what's been bringing us in that rain that we have been seeing today. So taking a look at the radar right now, you can see it is very active out there, especially if you're in Volusia, Brevard counties. If you are in New Smyrna Beach or Edgewater, Oak Hill area, make sure you're standing by because we are seeing the possibility of flash flooding out there. We'll take a look at those rain totals of what we've seen just in the past 6 hours. But New Smyrna Beach right now down to Edgewater up towards Ponce Inlet. Flash flood warning until 3 p.m. Looks like that just expired. And also seeing another flash flood warning in Brevard County. We are seeing a lot of rain. Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach, Satellite Beach. We'll take up our Titusville and Canaveral camera in just a few seconds. But also seeing a flash flood warning in effect until 3:15 for Brevard County. We're talking Melbourne, West Melbourne, Palm Bay area is where we're going to be seeing this right along the I-95 corridor as you're passing Malabar, Palm Bay, Melbourne, up towards Satellite Beach. So if you're in that area, seeing a lot of rain in a short amount of time. And as we do take a look, here's what we've been seeing just for rain totals. The Volusia County flash flood warning looks like it just got let up, but even still, we've seen a lot of rain in just a short amount of time. So up towards New Smyrna Beach, down towards Edgewater, Oak Hill area, we have seen over 4 inches of rain expected just within the past 6 hours. That's not even taking a look at the past 7 days. We'll take a look at that in a second. But even down towards Brevard County, let's clear this real quick. Take a look at to the other area where we're seeing a flash flood warning currently. And right here, roughly about 6 inches in the past 6 hours by West Melbourne, Palm Bay, Melbourne area. So again, if you're in that region, make sure you are being careful. There is the possibility of flooding within those areas. And then on top of the tide continuing to come in, coastal flooding definitely possible. So a couple of big things. If you do see a road flooded, let us know, but do not drive through it. It is very dangerous to drive through flooded roads because you don't exactly know how deep that water is. So we're going to continue to hold that risk of flooding at least for a little while. So just make sure you are being careful if you are in those areas in particular. So taking a look, we are, again, continuing to just see a lot of flooding, but this isn't new. We have been seeing a lot of rain in the past 7 days. So this is the rainfall in the past 6 hours. This is the rainfall that we've seen in the past 7 days. So taking a look, Volusia County, northern Brevard, central Brevard, even down towards southern Brevard and Indian River counties. A lot of rain in a short amount of time, just because we've been in this pattern of wind coming in off the East Coast, scattered showers following, and it's just been almost a training effect of just seeing wave after wave after wave of rain just continuing to make its way onshore. So we can see right here up towards Daytona Beach, Edgewater, New Smyrna area, where we did see a flash flood warning that just got expired. Past 7 days, just under 7 inches of rain. That is crazy. Focusing down a little bit more towards Brevard County, so Playa Linda Beach, Kennedy Space Center, Mims, Titusville. We'll take a couple of plots here. Possibly even around a foot of rain in some areas. So right along the shoreline, Playa Linda Beach, maybe clocking in at about 12 inches of rain. This is radar indicated, so might not be exact, but it is pretty close sometimes, especially when we see massive rain events with heavy, heavy rain. Focusing in more towards central Osceola County and Brevard County, we can see right here a little bit of that whiter shade. Getting into more Osceola County, possibly about a foot of rain just north of where we're seeing that flash flood warning right now, just under a foot of rain, and currently within the flash flood warning just over the past 7 days, 10 inches of rain. So we've been continuing just to see this loads and loads of rain coming off the shore. And then on top of that, the tides coming in very, very high. That is just creating much more of that training effect. So as we take a look, I'm going to pop up a couple of our cameras right now. And we've been seeing just that rain pretty much all day today. We saw it through the morning. We're going to continue to see it through the afternoon. So if you do have any plans tonight, it is going to be on the soggy side. So here's what we're seeing in Titusville right now. Looks like a very light shower, nothing crazy, but it is breezy. You can kind of see on the pavement there, they probably just got out of a shower. And let's also take a look at our port camera as well. Yeah, it looks like they are in a shower, but it doesn't look like it's anything too bad. You can actually, if you look closely, if you can see my mouse right here, it's right over the Royal Caribbean sign. You can see the rain coming in. So there is a wall of water that's making its way towards the port right now. And that's going to continue to come in and bring another round of rain to areas across Port Canaveral within the next couple of minutes. So getting into a little bit more importance, flood advisories are in effect through the near future. So at least through this weekend, we are going to continue to see flood advisories in effect, flood watches in effect for Volusia and Brevard counties. And even as we make our way up towards Palm Coast, still seeing a good amount of that coastal flooding possible just because of the areas right along the coastline. So again, if you are in any of these areas, make sure you are being extremely careful. And then of course, we're keeping an eye on those flash flood warnings as well. With those tides, again, coming in pretty far, continuing to see that moderate possibility of street flooding because we are going to continue to see those high rip currents and dangerously high surf over the next couple of days, and just a couple of times to keep an eye out for. Low tide is going to be later on this evening, but our next high tide later on tonight. So that's something that you will need to watch out there for sure if you do live along the coast. All right, folks, we are going to take a break in a few minutes, but definitely write in what are your plans for the weekend coming up in a few. We're going to talk tropics, and of course, today is one of the one-year anniversaries of Milton. Yesterday is when it made landfall. Today is when it was making its way off the coast of Volusia County. So we're going to take a little bit of a look back on that and talk a little bit more about the tropics coming up. Stick with us. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. All right, folks, welcome back. Taking a look at the tropics. Of course, we'll circle back around to the current flooding that's happening on Brevard County in a little bit. But I do want to talk about the tropics. Of course, we're seeing two tropical storms out there right now, Tropical Storm Jerry, and now as of early this morning, right around midnight, the 2 a.m. update, we now have Karen. So continuing to monitor two tropical storms out there, and we're going to continue to monitor because as of right now, knock on wood, neither of these storms should be impacting the U.S. So let's start off with Jerry. Jerry right now is the 11 a.m. update on Friday. Is going to almost do a little bit of a corkscrew kind of thing. So it's going to continue to make its way northward. It's on a northerly track right now. It is barely going to bypass Bermuda. So Bermuda pretty much almost took a direct hit from Imelda. So it's going to get another very close brush by Jerry coming up as we head through the weekend. So it's going to continue to hold the tropical storm strength as it makes its way northward. But really overall, this storm going to continue to stay out to sea and then maybe even work its way back eastward as we do take a look towards the middle of next week. So that's what we're looking at with Tropical Storm Jerry. So now let's focus on Karen. So Karen became a tropical storm very, very late last night, early this morning. And this storm is barely holding on to tropical storm strength. So right now it's being called subtropical storm Karen. So it is still a system that has the winds and does have the moisture associated with it, but it doesn't necessarily hold those entirety of those tropical characteristics in order for it to become full tropical storm Karen. But it does have the wind, which is one of the characteristics for becoming a tropical storm. So subtropical storm Karen, holding 45-mile-per-hour winds, and this is going to continue just to kind of hang out in the northern Atlantic as it just makes its way northward. As of right now, let me extend that time a little bit. It's not expected to really do anything. Most likely the moisture is just going to be sheared away and it'll eventually swing over to Europe. But what we're going to continue to monitor with this storm again is really just the name and where it's going, because really it's going to make its way northward and it doesn't even probably last through the weekend before all the moisture gets sheared apart and then kind of swept over towards Europe. So that's what we're going to continue to see with that storm. But overall, we have gone through multiple names on the list. Now that we have Karen, next name up is Lorenzo, followed by Melissa and Nestor. And these are the kind of the three that we very much watch carefully because we are not done with hurricane season yet. We have about a month and a half left to go, but 25% of all tropical activity happens in October. So as we take a look at some long-range models, we see the possibility of something brewing across the central Atlantic, but the odds are starting to increase, especially in the Gulf and the Caribbean, and we can even see that maybe even amp up a little bit more taking a look at the end of October. So we're not letting our guard down yet, especially because this time last year we got hit with Milton. And switching gears ever so slightly, 1 year ago today, Milton, actually yesterday, 1 year ago yesterday, Milton made landfall as a Category 3 storm. It was one of the strongest tropical storms globally in 2024. It hit Category 5 status in the Gulf before it slowly weakened as it made its way onshore. And it hit areas, especially across Siesta Key, with 120-mile-per-hour winds on October 9th at 8:31 p.m. That's when it made landfall, and it continued to rip across central Florida, kind of following south of the I-4 corridor. And this storm was interesting, to say the least. It impacted areas all across the peninsula in almost 3 chapters. So first we had the tornadoes, and this was even before this storm made landfall. 126, I believe. Yeah, 126 tornado warnings were issued, and that is the second most issued in a single day by the National Weather Service. So that was something very interesting with this storm. It was a huge tornado outbreak. And then from there, once the tornadoes died down, then the rain really hit. So in Ormond Beach, over 17 inches of rain was reported. Port Orange, 15 inches of rain. Down by Oviedo, it was 13 inches of rain. And in Sanford, 11 inches of rain, which caused incredible flooding. If you've ever been down to the Sanford Riverwalk area, the Veterans Memorial, that was completely underwater. I went for a walk out there and it was crazy to see. And then after the rain died down, as it was making its way off the coast of Volusia County, that's when we saw really the wind pick up. So as it was making landfall, Tampa Bay clocked in a 95-mile-per-hour gust. Daytona Beach, as it was making its way off the coast, clocked in an 87-mile-per-hour gust. New Smyrna clocked in an 86-mile-per-hour gust. So lots of wind gusts reported with that. And then here were the top wind gusts that was reported Florida-wide. Ponce Inlet, 99-mile-per-hour gust. Kennedy Space Center, 85-mile-per-hour gust. Oak Hill, 70-mile-per-hour gust. So this storm really hit in almost 3 waves. And because of that storm happening a year ago, some people are still feeling the effects of that storm today. And I had the opportunity to talk with somebody in Volusia County, the Big Tree Village area, and they are still trying to recover from that storm today. They still have damage to their homes. So take a listen. This is Bob Lasota and his wife kind of remembering what happened a year ago today.
You want to cry. You don't know where to start. This whole area was underwater.
1 year ago today, the streets of the Big Tree Village community in South Daytona were flooded with water due to the impacts of Hurricane Milton. Bob Lasota and his wife had to crawl through their front window in order to evacuate their home.
I wanted to stay. My wife said, get me out of here. So the Army truck came and got us and took us. My brother from Orlando came and picked us up.
Even though most of the damage to the Lasota's home has been repaired, there is still things that need to be fixed.
I don't have flood insurance. I don't have hurricane insurance. I did, but then the flood hit, and so then everything went up so high that, you know, I still don't have it. I had to tear a drywall up 4 foot.
Wow.
So I'm going to say it was probably about up to here.
Oh yeah, you can still kind of see the line. What have you noticed with your neighbors and the homes?
A lot of new people.
A lot of new people.
A lot of new people. A lot of people moved. Couldn't afford to redo their houses. It's happened to me twice. I think if it happens again, I got to go somewhere else. I got to get out of here. I'm getting too old to have to do it again.
And when we were walking through that community yesterday, we were starting to even see a little bit of flooding, but luckily the Volusia County officials, especially in that area, there's a couple of ponds in there. They're continuing to drain those lakes when they start to get a little bit high to hopefully prevent any flooding like that happening in the future. Quick look at the radar, and we'll take a quick break and come back in a few to talk about your weekend weather. Still seeing in effect a flash flood warning now issued until 4:15 for Brevard County, and we're still going to be seeing a lot of rain continuing to make its way on the coast. So we'll stick with us. We'll talk about your weekend weather coming up in a few minutes. Stay right there.
You want to cry. You don't know where to start. This whole area was underwater.
1 year ago today, the streets of Okay, there we go. Hey, folks, sorry about that. Music would not turn off, but let's actually pop up a couple of your comments. Taking a look, Joel and Deb are saying that it's 82 in Claremont, very breezy, 8 to 14 mile per hour winds right now. Thanks for that, Joel. Much appreciated. Seeing a couple folks also writing in the comments on our Facebook and YouTube page. We are seeing a couple of other folks writing in. Scott saying from Edgewater, flooding in the shores. When do we think this will end? So luckily, as we take a look at the weekend, things will slowly start to get a little bit better. Things will lighten up and we'll be actually in a little bit of a dry stretch coming up. So fingers crossed the flooding will end from the rain, and then hopefully we'll start to see those waves calm down a little bit. But heads up, we are going to be seeing another strong wave of those king tides coming up at the beginning of November as we see another super full moon. Vicky Lynn writing in from Palm Bay. Hey, Vicky. Let us know if you're seeing any flooding down there, if you are in the comments still. And we're also seeing a couple of other folks writing in today. Berlinda writing in from Kissimmee today. So thanks, folks, for watching in on this Friday. We appreciate it. And this is what we do. We take your forecast and make it your weekend and give you a customized forecast. And let's get right into that. So I'm going to take this up full so you can see everything that we need to on that. And so good news right here. We're going to see a little bit more of that relief from that rain coming up, especially towards the back half of the weekend. So totally not a washout by any means, but it is definitely going to be a little on the soggy side if you do have plans tonight. So let's take a look at your weekend forecast. Here we go. So taking a look at your weekend forecast, it is going to be on the spooky side through the rest of the overnight tonight. Spooky showers going to be expected. And then as we take a look at Saturday, things are going to become much more scattered. So spooky showers on Saturday, and then a beautiful, cool, and breezy Sunday is feeling a little bit more like fall. So here's your pumpkin spice and weather advice kind of forecast as we break down what is on tap for this weekend, because of course here in Central Florida we have a lot going on. So let's start off. This is what I'm planning to go to tomorrow morning, hopefully beating that rain. Autumn Art Festival happening in Winter Park from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this is going to be happening all weekend long. So October 11th and 12th, 9 a.m., mostly cloudy, a little bit on the cooler side, and then slowly starting to amp up that rain chances as we head through the afternoon. But things are going to be much more scattered than what we're seeing out there right now. Taking a look, this also happens on Sunday as well, and personally Sunday, it's going to be the pick of the weekend by far. We're not going to be looking at any rain on Sunday, but it will be breezy and on the cooler side. So if you're looking to get a little bit of fall fun in, maybe heading down to the Autumn Art Festival, it is going to be beautiful. Also taking a look, Zoo Boo Bash. This is happening at the Central Florida Zoo, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. First day is on Saturday, but this is happening through select dates, so you can head to the Central Florida Zoo website in order to get full information on that. Mostly cloudy, especially once we hit 5 p.m. and then continuing through the afternoon and evening, but overall it is going to be a beautiful day on Sunday in order to go if you are looking to head over and see some animals and have a little bit of fall fun there. Speaking of fall fun, this is a blast. I went to one of these last year, these Fall Fest at Amber Brook Farm in Eustis. It is going to be beautiful out there, especially on Sunday. Again, select dates, so make sure you go onto their website in order to see the full list of dates that you can attend one of the fall festivals at Amber Brook, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sunday, again, pick of the weekend by far. So if you do have any plans here in Central Florida, make sure you get outside and enjoy that little bit of fall taste on Sunday. Speaking of a little bit of fall taste, we are going to continue to see beautiful weather, cooler for sure, especially through those overnights. Temperatures going to be sinking further into the 60s. Taking a look Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, little bit of a rebound in those temperatures taking a look towards the end of the work week, but it is going to stay cool as we continue to monitor a little bit of that cooler air. That system that's bringing us that rain right now is pulling in that much cooler air. And that's what's going to not only dry us out, but it's also going to keep our mornings, especially on the cooler side, as we take a look at the next 7 days. So if you do have any weekend plans, you may need to break out the sweatshirts, because especially through the overnights, it is cool. And I totally feel like a weenie saying that. I am originally from New England. If y'all didn't know, I used to live in Tennessee, and we had cool nights, especially during this time of year. And now that I've been living in Florida for a year, I totally think 60 degrees is cold. So let us know if you kind of relate to that a little bit, because I feel like it kind of happened a little quicker than what I was expecting. That getting used or not used, I guess, to the cold, and not feeling the humidity as much. I feel like once you kind of take the humidity out of here, us Central Florida forecast, it makes everything so much cooler, and just without that mugginess, oh, so much more refreshing. But yes, I totally agree. 60 degrees now is cold after about a year and a couple months living in Florida. All right, folks, have a wonderful weekend. And we are doing this segment every single weekday from 3 to 3:30. And again, if you do have any plans, let us know. We are here for you to give you a personalized forecast. And that's what we do here. And especially during this time, you can get a hour by hour forecast of any plans that you might have for the week ahead. All right, everyone, have a fantastic and safe weekend. And let us know if you do have any photos of you, your kids, your family dressed up. Send that in to the Fox 35 Storm Team at fox.com. You can find that email on the Fox 35 Orlando website. Have a great one, everybody. Have a safe weekend and enjoy.